Hi, friends. Welcome back to Sorta Awesome. I'm your host, Meg Teets. I am so thrilled to be joined today by my longtime friend, my dear friend and longtime co-host, Kelly Gordon. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hey, Meg. I'm really good. I've had 2 cups of coffee this morning, so
Nice.
I'm bringing the energy here for the awesomes.
Yes. This is the energy we want and need,
Yes,
let's not neglect the fact that not only that, you're wearing, for those
I
of you
am.
not watching on YouTube, you're
hmm
wearing pink sequins. I can't even say it. I'm so excited.
I know, you guys. Like, look, I also have my ring light on, so if I move, um,
Yes, you are shimmering.
I am. And there's a reason. It's because what we're talking about today. I'm bringing my best party self to the party that is
Yes.
this episode.
Yes, not only are you bringing your best party self, you actually had the idea for this episode based
hmm
on a real life in person party that you just went to last
Yes,
night.
exactly. So this is a shout out to real life friend and awesome Oshita Moore. Her birthday is coming up, and I love this idea. She threw for herself a
Yeah.
Barbie birthday party. So it was
So fun.
centered around the movie, of course. But she just did like what we do for our kids. Like she rented a movie, like a room at the nice movie theater so that we could
Yes.
gather, and we had cupcakes, and then we all got, like one small drink and a popcorn, and we had seats together to watch the Barbie movie. And of course she
Oh,
was like,
so
please
fun.
come dressed in your best Barbie core. And you guys, Oshita has the friends. I think we
Yes.
could have outdone any opening night Barbie movie theater going experience. We had Dr. Barbie. We had tennis Barbie.
Oh
We
my
had an
gosh.
older lady who dressed in like a pink terry cloth, like sort of moo and pink flip flops. And she's like, I'm retired Palm Beach Barbie.
Oh.
Like, I mean, and then my absolute favorite, I do not know how they found it. There were 2 women who had they found workout clothes Barbie, like the 80s workout Barbie. So one of them found it
Oh,
said Barbie on it. It was a leotard or maybe a bathing suit, but like a pink leotard looking sort of thing, like a
yes.
one-piece bathing suit. And then she had paired it with neon green, like bicycle shorts and a top. Like she had the white tennis shoes, the big puffy socks, workout weights. It
Oh
was
my
beyond.
gosh.
I wore this
Wow.
jacket and like a fluffy dress, like that
Yeah.
was black and white polka dotted, and I had big earrings and stuff. Kind of in funny ways, if you've seen the Barbie movie, I was like stereotypical Barbie, but
Uh-huh.
the workout Barbies, like I said to my daughter before I left, I'm like, I wonder if this is too much. Like, am I over the top? Am I gonna scare people with my sevenness? And she's like, Mom, go big or go home. Like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Don't doubt
Yes.
yourself. And then I
Right.
got there and I was like, my people, my people. So
Yes.
yes, Oshita is a 2. So
Mhm.
in some ways, this was a birthday party. It wasn't just like a Barbie party.
Right, right,
But
right.
she
Yes.
threw this party because she remembered playing Barbies with her mom, and her mom passed away a few years ago. And so she's like,
Yeah.
this is like healing something in myself. I always wanted to have a
Yes.
Barbie party. I know that if my mom were alive, she would love to go to this movie with me. And so come
Yes.
around. And so as a 2, it felt so perfect, but it really inspired me to think like
Yeah.
all the different types of the Enneagram. What is the party that would really speak to them? Like, what's the party that either they would throw themselves or they would want somebody else to throw for them? How can we speak to them? So, and I love that she just did it too.
I
Like
do too.
sometimes we're like, oh, I
Yes.
wish people would do this for me. And then we get our feelings
Right?
hurt and we kind of, suffer in the background when it doesn't happen. And I just like, let's talk about this, whether you have to do it or you have to like hand the plans to somebody else, because part of the
Right.
party is really you not having to do it. Like, let's lean into
Yeah.
that idea that throw your own party.
Throw
It's
your own
okay.
party. Yes. We even asked on Instagram, we asked our awesomes over on Instagram in stories to tell us their Enneagram number and what an ideal party would be for them. We got a whole variety of answers. And Kelly, you have some fun ideas. So we're talking all things Enneagram and all things party today on Sorta Awesome. Welcome back, Awesomes, to the show that loves to support you in becoming smart, strong, and social. If you have been looking for a community of women to support you, no matter what age or stage or what Enneagram number you are, I'm so happy to tell you, you've come to the right place. We would love to have you join us, not just in listening to the podcast every Friday, although, yes, please do that. We love it when you hit play on this sort of awesome episodes. But we also want you to get out of your podcast app and come join us in one of our social media communities. Again, we are on Instagram at Sort of Awesome Show. We'd love to have you join us over there, or come find us in the Sort of Awesome Hangout, where we are always just trying to bring that awesome vibe to life, to everyday situations, whether it's travel recommendations or parenting advice, or just like, I don't know, we had Talk Awesomes of the Week in there, all kinds of good stuff in the Hangout all the time. So we'd love to have you join us over there. Kelly, I cannot wait to get into our Enneagram talk. You and I both, we share many, so
Yeah.
many things in common, not the least of which being the fact that we both speak fluently several languages of personality type, including Enneagram.
That's exactly right. We can completely nerd out about this.
Absolutely. I will say I have crossed the threshold to where I didn't used to do this, but now I find myself typing fictional characters in
Yes.
books and movies. I just finished reading Chandler Baker's new novel, Cutting Teeth, and it follows 3 women and their experiences in motherhood, and like there's a murder mystery and stuff. And I like, as soon as we meet each of the characters, I'm typing them. I'm like, oh, she's definitely a 2. And now we have our 6 and like all of this. So like my brain thinks in this. I'm surprised I don't dream in Enneagram. But today we get to talk to each other about the Enneagram and parties. But first, before we get into all of that, let's go ahead and start this show the way we always do, with our Awesomes of the Week. If you're new to Sort of Awesome, Awesome of the Week is the moment in the show where we stop and talk about just whatever it is that's making life a little more awesome right now. Whether it's a book like Cutting Teeth, it was really great. Not even my Awesome of the Week, but it was really good.
Just a bonus.
Highly recommend. Yeah, that's a bonus. Maybe a TV show or a movie, a podcast, a product, maybe a recipe. Kelly, what you got for us this week?
It's like you set me up, Meg. I am bringing a recipe, you guys. And I would say it's not just an Awesome of the Week. It's an Awesome of the Month. It's perfect for August. Like, this is going to be what I'm already starting to make, because here we are in like the dog days of summer. This is when it's really hot out. We're kind of tired of cooking, like you don't want to heat up the kitchen, but your people still need to be fed. So this is it's like a salad. It's a side course, but it would be so easy to go with everything. So it is the simplest of recipes. It is simply a watermelon and cucumber salad.
Oh, that sounds
with
good.
Lime juice and salt and pepper. So that's it. I'm keeping it really simple. I know some people love to put feta in a salad like this, and by all means, you can add in anything else that you would like to add to this. Like, I'm super into spice right now. I was like, man, a little bit of diced up jalapeno or habanero would be so interesting in here.
You know what I'm thinking? Sprinkle some tahini on top.
Yes.
That sounds so good.
I've been doing tahini on top of just like my watermelon slices. Yes. And it is amazing. But then if you're going to pair it with that cucumber and the watermelon, or lime, excuse me. What I'm saying is that this salad is so simple. It is really equal parts diced, like big cubes of watermelon.
Yeah.
And like chunks of cucumber. So I think, if you have the like your growing cucumber, or you get cucumber at the farmer's market, you might want to like take a few of the stripes of the skin off if the skin is really tough before you dice them up. If you have, like an English cucumber it's very thin skin, don't even worry about it. Like, just chunk them up into, like I usually do, kind of quarters, depending on how size they are. You put them all in together, and then it's got to be fresh lime juice. So the recipe that I have is 3 cups of each watermelon and cucumber, and then 3 tablespoons of lime juice. So it's like 1 tablespoon for each cup of other things. So this is how you can scale it.
Yes.
Then you sprinkle on a generous amount of salt. You don't want to over salt it, but like, I think that salt with all watermelon and even cucumber, like it brings out their flavors.
Oh, yes.
So don't be afraid of the salt, and then a little tiny bit of pepper. And Meg, it is so refreshing. Like, it's all that water content in the watermelon and the cucumber. You get the sweet, you get the crispy, you get the savory. It's just one of those perfect things. I love to like just grill some chicken breasts and serve it with that. You could grill. I think this is like really nice with those lighter meats like fish or shrimp, chicken, something like that. Even pork you could probably do it with. But honestly, I love it just for lunch. Like it's one of those
Yeah.
things that if I pair with some cheese, again, you could put
Yeah.
feta in it if you want. Although the thing with feta in a salad like this is it's not going to last too long. So like maybe just
Right.
add the feta as you're going to eat it if you're going
Mm.
to do that. It's my suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just such a great lunch. It's light, it's refreshing. It's perfect for these really hot and sultry days of summer. So
Yeah.
just sharing it because it truly is an awesome for me. I make it all the time. And I don't know about you. I mean, we have a big family, but even then, a big watermelon, I'm like, okay, you even a fourth of it cut into chunks, like slices that people can just pick up and eat. I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I going to do with all this watermelon? So this is
Okay.
a great suggestion.
This is what I was going to say. I am kicking myself in this moment. I wish I could go back in time to just this very morning when I was at Trader Joe's and I was like, oh, these cucumbers look great. And I saw the big display with the like full size watermelons. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not going to get one because personally, I like to eat. I feel kind of ambivalent about watermelon. I can take it
Yeah.
or leave it. What I don't like about watermelon is it's so long to like cut
I
it up, carve
know.
it, and then it's so
Yes.
juicy and sticky everywhere. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to mess with a watermelon this week. But now I'm kicking myself because I could have gotten it with the cucumbers from the Trader Joe's. But I am going to Costco later this week. So
See, and
I'm
okay, I will
sure
tell you, all of the
watermelon will land
watermelon
in
I've
my
gotten
cart.
this year has been from Costco. They're
Okay.
ginormous, but they're
Yeah.
only like $6. So like it's the same price as a smaller watermelon. So I'm always weighing that like
Yes.
justification of like, oh, you get so
Yes.
much more here, but then what are you going to do with it all? And it like has to sit in,
Yes.
the extra fridge. Like you said, it takes up so much room. So I would say I don't love watermelon either. It's not like my favorite summer fruit.
Yeah.
That's a nectarine / peach, hands down. So
Mhm.
I think if you like, this is a great way to use watermelon. And if the
Yeah.
size of a huge watermelon overwhelms you or
Mhm.
overwhelms your family, you can get a small one. I feel like this recipe is a good enough for you to deal
Yeah, yeah,
with all of the stuff that
totally.
comes along with the watermelon.
And it's so adaptable. Like if you
Yes.
did get like I love to get the minis. So if you got like a mini
Yes.
watermelon and a couple of cucumbers, you could just and there you go.
And there you go. And it really does like, watermelon that's been cut. I don't know. How long do you think it lasts in the fridge? Like 5 days at the
Yeah.
most before it
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
to get a
yeah.
little weird. But
Before it
like you can
becomes
make the
watermelon
salad.
wine. It's all fermented in there.
Yes.
Watermelon beer.
My kids will be like, this one's making my tongue tingle. And I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
it's fine. I'm like the least, you guys. I'm awful with food safety stuff. They're like, is that okay? And I'm like, you'll be fine. You'll be
It's fine.
fine. They're like,
Mi-
okay, mom.
builds your
Builds your
healthy
immunity. Yeah,
microbiome.
gut health.
Yes.
It's gut health. I say these things and they take like a class in school and they're like, Mom, my health teacher said you're supposed to throw it out. All of a sudden they start to go through my cupboards looking at the sell by dates and they're like, Mom. I'm like, you guys, it's a can. Anyway, yes. So maybe 3 to 5 days. If you make it 5 days, it's going to be on the very other end of this because cucumbers also start to degrade once you cut them. So it's going to be
Yeah.
best the first, second day, third day. Eat it.
Yeah.
It will make you so happy. I promise.
Yes.
Money back guarantee.
So okay. Oh, there we go. Perfect. That sounds so good and so summery. I'm into
Yes.
it for sure.
So what do you got?
Okay. Well, my awesome of the week is in fact the Barbie movie. Like
I'm so happy right now. Okay,
Yes.
let's talk. I just saw it.
I'm like, I just saw it Friday night. Catherine and I went Friday night. You went last night. I don't even know what to say at this point. Like, what is there to say about this movie that hasn't already been said?
True.
I loved it so much. When I very first, you remember like a long time ago when they first started kind of like leak pictures from like the filming of
like a
Margot
year
Robbie
ago.
yeah, and Ryan Gosling. I was like, a Barbie movie, is that something we need on this planet? I didn't quite put it all together at the time that this was going to be a Greta Gerwig production.
Yeah.
And so she directs it and she wrote the script along with her husband, Noah Baumbach. And I was I'm sorry, Noah Baumbach.
Okay.
I was so unprepared that this was going to be that there's going to be so much heft to the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was really surprised by that too, and also impressed.
Yes. So surely most everybody who's listening has heard or seen the buzz around this movie. It follows the storyline of stereotypical Barbie, played by Margot Robbie, who is like, I say this with the utmost love and respect. She's like almost freak of nature beautiful. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I could just look at Margot Robbie all the time and never
Well,
feel sad
it was
about
one of my
it.
favorite lines in the middle of the movie where stereotypical Barbie is saying, like, I just am old and I'm washed up and I'm not pretty anymore. And
Yes,
like the narrator, who is Helen Mirren, she says, note to the producers, if you want this line to be believable, maybe have somebody other than Margot Robbie playing the part. And like the whole theater just died laughing because yes, it's not believable when
absolutely.
she's like, I'm ugly. And you're like, I literally think you're going to be absolutely stunning at 85. Like you're just,
Yes.
like you said, almost a freak of nature. You're so pretty.
So pretty. Um, so it follows her. She has to go on this quest to figure out why the veil of separation between Barbie Land and the real world has been torn, separated somehow. The two worlds are influencing each other. So that's, that's kind of like the general plot arc. There's so much to this though. And
Mm-hmm.
I was really unprepared for what an emotional experience it was going to be. It wasn't until so I dressed up. I was inspired by international travel Barbie,
Okay.
who was wearing a houndstooth dress. Now she had a gorgeous darling of the era white Peter Pan collar on her
Yes.
houndstooth travel dress. I did not have that, but I did have a houndstooth dress to wear. And she was just like so put together. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I've got a houndstooth. I was like, I looked in my closet, Kelly. I was like, I have not a thing pink. Not
Oh, really?
a single item.
I
I don't
mean,
have I just wear so much black. And I was like, why do I
okay.
only have black and gray? And there's no pink in here. My girls didn't have anything pink. Anyway, I was like, I can do a houndstooth. So AJ helped me do the eye makeup look, which was like this. We found like these pictures. It was like a blue eyeshadow. And she's
Oh,
putting
so
it on.
fun.
She's like, you're gonna cry all of this off, right? And I was like, what? She hasn't seen the movie. And she's like, no, I've heard that like
Oh, she
people are like
knows.
crying.
Yeah.
And so then she was like, there's a lot about moms and daughters in this. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, and I was like literally about to walk out the door. I was like, I wish I would have known that. But here we go. Now, Daisy had seen it a couple of days before that. She's like, Mom, you're going to love it. But she didn't tell me anything. There is a
Yeah.
strong plot line that talks about the moms and the
Yeah.
daughters. That's just one of the things that was, emotional in the movie. But ultimately, Kelly, what I love about this movie so much is it really does examine the idea of what it means to live a real and authentic life and
Yeah.
how we sort of hide behind or construct these stereotypes that we attach ourselves to, because life can be so hard and lonely, and that we, attach ourselves to these views of ourselves. And what does it mean to kind of break out of
Mm-hmm.
that and choose authenticity and to be our real and weird selves? It's just so good. And the cast is impeccable.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
every single person is so spot on in their role. I know more than a few people, including Daisy, who have seen it more than one time, because it's just like it's so pretty to look at. There's colors and like the
Yes.
music is just perfect. The casting is perfect. It's just such a fun experience, but also really profound and meaningful too. So,
Yeah, it felt to me like a beach read would feel, but with a beach read that has this like undertone of
okay,
growth, where
like an
it's,
Emily Henry novel.
yes,
Emily Henry
exactly.
writes these really spicy, very sexy romance novels that almost always come out in
Like
the summer. But there's,
sensory, right?
yeah,
Like I feel like this movie also is very, like you said, the colors
yes,
and the outfits and all of this, but
exactly.
there's this undertone that you kind
But
of
there's
don't
a real
expect.
story there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah,
I just loved it so much. And I can see that you did too.
I did too. I mean, I think
Yes.
also I loved how many times they flipped things that you thought they
Yeah.
were going one way and
Yeah.
then they flipped it. So like
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite things, and I don't think this is a spoiler alert because you can see how it plays out in the movie, but that Ryan Gosling as Ken, when he comes to the real world and discovers that in the real world, unlike Barbie Land, men control everything. And
Yeah.
he's like, the patriarchy is awesome. And also horses. Like,
Horses.
and he brings the patriarchy back to Barbie Land and how that goes. Like it just, and then it like
Yes.
flips, like even how men are also like trapped in things. And like
Yes.
definitely the
Yes.
overarching theme is about women and the difficulty of being a woman in modern society where you never feel like you're enough, but also for men. Like it just is
Yeah.
always kind of flipping it. Mattel,
It's yeah.
I can't believe that they allowed the things to be said about them in this movie where they are like, they embrace the paradox of Barbie, which is on one
Yes.
hand, created to make women dream big and you can be anything. It also has for generations made a lot of women feel awful about themselves, you know? And so
Mm-hmm.
like, it's just, there's so many things that you kind of don't expect that I think
Right.
it's really fun. You could definitely watch it again. My daughter went to see it opening weekend. And so she also was like, Mom, if you don't cry, I don't know you. Like, you
Yes.
know, and she was right. Like it was mostly the mother daughter stuff. So I was kind of prepared, but I wasn't prepared. You know, it's like that
Yeah.
whole growing up thing. If you have kids at this age, especially, it felt very tender. It was just the
Yes.
perfect, I felt like the perfect summer movie.
So great. Um, yeah, I was going to say something else, but all I know to say, oh, I really think ultimately, as you were talking about, it really is about the human experience. And it's
Yes.
so like beautifully ironic that we're thinking about the human experience through the eyes of literal plastic dolls. And
Yes.
it's just, I don't know, so great.
But they represent something. Like somebody's going to write a thesis
Yes.
on this, you know, or
Oh,
like
for
on a thesis on how
sure.
Barbie, you know, like it interacts and reflects with our humanity. It's yeah,
Loved it.
it's really fun and it's so gorgeously eye candy-y. It's fun.
Yes.
It's fun. Go
It's
see it.
so
If you
good.
haven't seen it already, go see it and then we'll start a thread in the hangout where we could
For
all
sure.
talk about.
I think a few people even
I
already have,
know.
except I think it's mostly been people asking, like, what did you wear to the Barbie
Yes.
movie?
Yeah. We could have an existential thread now about like what it all
Yes.
meant.
Yes, definitely, for sure. So those are our awesomes of the week. Of the week, we will put links in the show notes for you guys, so that you can go and check those things out. And of course, we want to hear what is awesome in your life over on social media. So again, it's Sort of Awesome Show on Instagram or the Sort of Awesome Hangout on Facebook. Okay, Kelly and I have all kinds of Enneagram thoughts for you guys that we're going to get to when we come right back. Okay, we are back, and today we are ready to party, and we are partying Enneagram style. Kelly and I have been thinking about the 9 Enneagram types and what party would really speak to them, like help them. I think, speaking of Barbie and the human experience, I think one thing about the
Mhm.
Enneagram that is really helpful is it kind of speaks to the fact that we all, as people, just want to be seen and known
Mhm.
by people in our lives. And when it comes to big milestone events, whether it's a birthday party, or a wedding or a baby shower, a big celebration in life. We just want to know that the people around us kind of like know us and
Yeah.
can throw us a celebration that speaks to that. So we're kind of exploring some ideas. We're just saying, hey, what about this? Let's start at the top of the Enneagram, as we often do with the Enneagram 1 type. Enneagram 1s are called the reformer types. They are part of the gut triad, along with 9s and 8s. And they are the type that are generally known, stereotypically known, for making things right in the world, whether it's
Mhm.
the little details of their life or working in an activism role. They kind of want to make the things that are not right in the world, they want to correct them and make them right. So Kelly, as you think about Enneagram 1, what are some party thoughts that come to mind?
Okay, so what I have done here is I've come up with like a party for each type
Okay.
that really like typifies what I think they want in a party. So for our ones, I have a like learn to make a charcuterie tray party.
Ooh,
Okay,
love
so
it.
these are
That's
like
speaking to my one
parties.
wing. I love
Yes,
that
there you
idea.
go. Um, what I like about this for a one is that it has a purpose. It's clear.
Yes.
This is what
Mm,
we're going to be doing. We are
hmm.
gathering, and oftentimes you can do these parties at a place. Like there's a
Yeah.
vineyard really close to me that once a month they bring a company in and you can, you know, you're coming, there's an expert there who's going to teach it. So it's not like you as the one or whoever's organizing the party has to do this. Find a place that
Yeah.
will teach the lessons. You can gather your friends and go and learn this skill. They're going to show you
Yes.
how to make something really beautiful, something fun. And I think that what especially appeals to a one about this is that it's got that purpose in very clear directions. They don't have to do it, but it's going to have it. And that's what is going to make
Yes.
it fun for them. Also, maybe include a start and an end time. Because
Okay.
I think that that part of it also appeals to ones when they're like, okay, I know what I'm getting into. This is organized. Ones appreciate organization,
Yes.
communication, clarity.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
also, I kind of think like with all of these, is this like you plan it for the one plans it for themselves, whatever. I think that if nothing else, though, when you are maybe planning a party for a one, let them help plan it because
Okay.
they I think almost more than all the types are going to have the most difficulty trusting that you are going to handle all the details and communicate clearly and think through everything, unless they know you really well and they know that you're also like a one and have that sort of sensitivity.
Right.
Like it's really
Yes.
hard, that control piece. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I think it can
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a negative, it can be a positive, is going to be really hard for them. And they're going to have the most fun
Yeah.
if they know that all those details are there, the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, and it's been communicated well. Then they're going to be able to relax and really embrace and enjoy the party.
Okay, I can definitely see that. Like I mentioned, ones are in the gut triad, which I
Mm-hmm.
am also in eights. As a nine, I am in. We have some control issues. It expresses itself in different ways for ones, nines, and eights, but control is a thing for us. Also, ones are part of the Enneagram. I love it. It's nine types and it's divided in all these different triads.
Yes.
Ones are a part of the efficiency triad. They place a lot of
Mm.
emphasis on efficiency along with threes and fives. Ones, threes, and fives, like efficiency, very big for them. I will say it's so interesting that how you talked about that. And I do like seriously, if y'all are having a charcuterie tray party, please invite me. This sounds like so much fun. So we asked the awesomes on Instagram. Here are a few of the things that one said. Mindy Zeigler said that her ideal party would be well organized and have an agenda with a purpose. So, Kelly, I feel like you were reading her mind
Phew.
as you thought about, yes, charcuterie board party. So fun. Now, Carolyn M516 said she had a little bit different idea on it. She said, just do it. Don't ask me one single question about what I want, or I will take over.
Right. And I feel like that's the
So,
double-edged sword, right? Is that
yes.
sometimes ones are like, just do it. Like, just like it would be a relief for me not to have to be involved. But there's some
Right.
other ones who are like, I will enjoy it if I at least know and trust that you have
Yes.
thought through all of these things. So
And
it's,
I do think that's a distinction, like
yes.
it depends on the closeness of relationship. I think that with a one, if they do really trust you and that's really meaningful, if they're like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what, I just trust that you will make this good,
Yep.
then that is a relief of burden for them. But I do think that Carolyn makes a good point that for ones, it's really hard to step back and be
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm just going to trust it's all going to turn out. So,
Yeah.
what's funny? A lot of ones who answered suggested they might like to have a reading party.
Huh.
And I've seen these become more like done, not necessarily for birthday parties,
Yeah.
but to have a silent reading party where people get together, they bring a book, there's food, you talk a little bit, people read for a while, talk about what you're reading, and then the party's over, which I
Huh.
thought was really fun. So
Yeah.
might
Yeah,
be
and I should
something.
say these aren't necessarily like ideas for birthday parties. They're just
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. They
just
could
have a
be,
party.
yeah.
It's just a party.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so that's one. Those are our reformer types. Let's go on to Enneagram 2. This is the helper type. Again, you mentioned at the top of the show, Oshida is a 2. I have so many twos in my life. Like some of
I
my
do too.
closest friends are twos. Like I don't know. I love it too. We all love it too. The twos are the helpers. These are our caring interpersonal types, the
Mhm.
interpersonal relationship, so key for the two. Again, they're known as the helpers. So Kelly, when it comes to twos and throwing a party for them, what did you have in mind?
Okay, so I said the type of party that every two needs to have is a really good birthday party. So I
Mm,
don't have like a theme. I'm just saying that no one needs a birthday party as much as a two because your birthday is supposed to be about you. And that is
yeah.
exactly what a two wants more than anything is for people to see them for how much they
Yes.
help. And so nothing
Yes.
means as much to them as being celebrated for who they are, for the gifts that they bring to the world. And so if you're going to throw any party for a two, make it a birthday party. I also said, like, ideally, kind of in the same way as a one, like we were talking this tension between should you just do it for them or should you get them involved? I feel like a two really needs you to plan it. Like that's going to communicate the most love to them
Yeah.
is if you just do it. Although there is that edge because I also think that they kind of have, they love to throw parties
They
for
do.
other people.
Absolutely. Yes.
So like
Yeah.
they're going to be the best person throwing you a birthday party with all
Yes.
of those personal touches, things that you didn't even know, you practically didn't know about yourself, that they've known about you, that they're going to make it super personal. So it would make me, I have also a lot of twos in my life. It makes me nervous to like plan a party without their
Yeah. Yeah.
input for them.
Yes.
Like I'm like,
Yes.
this is what we're thinking. How does that strike you? That, and I
Yeah.
feel like they're happiest saying, that sounds great. Or I really don't care about the flowers on the table. I really care
Yeah.
about the decor, whatever it might be. I
Yes.
want to make sure that it feels personal to them. So sometimes I just
Yes.
want their input and make sure that it's feeling personal and it's not, I'm not striking off in left field, because that's the thing that they want, is they want to be noticed
Yes.
for themselves. They want to be celebrated. They celebrate everybody else like
Yep.
364 days a year. If they can
Yeah.
have that one day where they feel celebrated and known for who they are, that's going to mean so much to them. So I just want to make sure that I do a good job of it.
Absolutely. I think that makes so much sense. And definitely it is a little intimidating, I feel like, because if you know a two, if you got a two in your life, they've probably thrown you a good party or at least gotten you a
Yes.
really great present. So a couple of twos that I thought were
Mm-hmm.
interesting in the Instagram answers. Tessa said her ideal party would be she didn't know about it beforehand. So again, I think there's that sort of
Mm-hmm.
like they don't want to be burdened with feeling like I should intervene. You know what I mean? So I think for some
Yep.
twos, maybe not knowing a lot of the details would be good. But she said lots of personal touches,
Yep.
very thoughtful presence. Tessa made a great point. In her description of the ideal party, she said, no guests excluded due to finances,
Yeah.
which I thought that is such a two thing. They would want everyone to be there and nobody to be left out because of, a hardship or whatever. Now, she said starts early, no set in time with lots of time to linger. And I thought, oh, that's so too, because the interpersonal connection
Yeah.
is so personal to a two. And I thought, that really tracks. Now, contemplating dandelions on Instagram, which I love that as an Instagram name. I'm sorry I
Yes.
didn't think of that for myself. She said that she would want all the cozy sweatpants, tea, comfort food,
Mm.
talking under chunky blankets. So that could be, I mean, talk about a party where there's like, you don't even have to spend that much money, but just
Yeah.
like make it to where they get that, just talking to people that, kind of scratch that itch and just really emphasize the interpersonal connection there, I think would be so good for any two, really.
Yeah. And I
I
also
love
think
that.
that one of the things that you could do, and this works really well at a birthday party, it seems most natural. It might be a little weird if you're just having like a movie night, but if you can celebrate a two by like going around the circle and everybody saying how they appreciate them and how they show up for each other in their life,
Yes.
like
Yes.
that will be the present that a two
Oh, yeah.
lingers over and appreciates the
Oh,
most. Record it if you can,
absolutely.
so they can go back and listen
Yes.
to it. Like talking
Yeah.
about why they're special and why we love them. Whew.
Yeah.
Like if you can do that at a birthday party, that's like the best part about a party for a two.
Yes. And I didn't mention as we moved from one to two, twos are part of the heart triad. The twos,
Right.
threes, and fours are in the heart triad. So very, the emotional factor is very big for a two. Also in the heart triad, we have our threes. These are our achiever types. They are success oriented. They love to excel. They're very driven. They're very conscious of people's opinions about themselves. So Kelly, when it comes to a three, what do you think would be fun for them?
I think that a three would love an axe throwing party.
Oh,
So,
okay.
this is kind of the newer thing. It's newish, I should
Yes.
say. It's not like it's brand new. It's been around for a couple of years. But I still feel like the thing that makes me think this is perfect for a three is
Yeah.
that you're having fun with your friends, doing something new, slightly competitive. Like you're trying, it's just like who can get the most points, that sort of a thing. But you're going to be laughing. It's going to be one of those things where the competition probably you're not going to bring as professional axe thrower to the party.
Right.
Everybody's going to
Yes.
be a little bit on the same level.
Yeah.
But you can talk some smack. You can throw an axe. So you've got that like, you're doing something with the party.
Yes. Threes are very action oriented for sure. Yes.
Like
Okay.
this is not the time to really sit around under cozy blankets and talk. I think not that
Right.
a three is going to have the most fun going out and doing
Yeah.
something and maybe
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
learning something. I think that you have to have cocktails at the party, which seems
Oh, yeah.
dangerous with axes, but hey, Most places that do axe
Dangerous.
throwing have a bar.
Oh yeah,
So
they do. They
they
do.
must know what they're doing. I think also inviting everybody they know and making it
Yeah.
kind of like an open house
Oh
so that people
yeah.
can just stop by. They can
Yes.
say, here I am at the party. I'm mingling. Threes are
Yep.
great connectors. So like
Oh
making they
yeah.
just happy when they look out and they see all their people.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
whether they're
For
there all the
sure.
time or not. And, just letting it be kind of open ended. It's like an open house. So people can stop by during those times, doing something that's fun, and really just getting to be with people, doing something new that's slightly competitive. I think that's like the
Yep.
sweet spot for a three.
I love that. That is, and it's really like it is not a brand new idea, but it's new enough that it feels kind of like cutting edge and innovative. And I think
Yeah.
that threes would like that part too.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm apologies to the awesome who's a three who wrote this in because I forgot to grab their screen name. But one of the threes who answered the question said a board game party, kind of that same
Oh,
thing.
yes.
Like it's like
Yes.
low stakes competition. So, you can still have fun, but there's also like a doing factor
Yeah.
and there's like a little bit of competition, but it's like not a big deal. I think that would be really fun. Jay the Mermaid, an Enneagram 3, said that she would love to have a signature cocktail. Okay, so
Well,
like a
see,
signature cocktail for the thing.
bring it
Yep.
up. Yes.
Tons of sparkle and my favorite people. So yeah, I think all of those components would be so spot on for our threes. Also in the heart triad, we have fours, the
Mm-hmm.
individualists. So these are our sensitive types. They're very expressive, extremely connected to and in touch with their feelings. Often excel in drawing your feelings out. If you tend to be a little feelings repressed, couldn't be me. I don't know anyone like that.
So weird. I've heard
So
about it.
I've heard of it. Yes. But so yes, these are the fours are probably most known for their desire. Again, they're called the individualists. They want to be known and perceive
Mm-hmm.
themselves as being very unique. And so this can be a little challenging. How do we plan a party for people who want to be seen and known kind of for who they are and how they stand out?
So I think the perfect party for a four would be like a movie night party.
Ooh, yeah.
Because you could pick like a really artsy or maybe like just a sappy, really emotive sort of movie to
Yes.
watch with your
Uh-huh.
friends, and this should not be what we just said for a three with the axe throwing party, inviting like everybody they know. This is not the time to invite everybody that the four knows. Although
Mm-hmm.
now that I say that, the four might not even know that many people that they consider themselves to be, they don't consider their acquaintances to be friends the way some
Oh,
types
that's
do.
true. That's very
So
true.
like find
Yeah.
their friends, invite, a handful of people that can sit together on a few couches to watch this movie together, provide tissues, maybe have some
Yeah.
tea, a yummy dessert.
Mm.
I said kind of a bonus because we're here in summer right now. If you could do it outside, like on a summer night, in
Oh,
the
yeah.
garden, sort of a thing
Oh,
where
yeah.
you're really invoking the senses because the fours really are aware of, they just really love art and
Definitely.
they love, all of these things interplaying together. So
Right.
it's not always possible, but man, wouldn't that be a dream if you could just pick a beautiful dusky
Yes.
summer night when the flowers are blooming and the
Oh,
moon is
yeah.
coming out and you have your friends there and you're watching some movie that everybody is going to cry at and laugh, and it just feels like
Yes.
that's the perfect way to give a four a night they will remember.
I love that. And that sounds so dreamy. I mean, what a fun night. A couple of fours who are awesome who shared on Instagram. Um, Barb Dembski said yoga in a park and then
Yeah.
hike with kayaking along a river, which I was like, oh, that's really interesting for a four. But again, I think there's that unique factor. Like,
Yeah.
not everybody would think to put together a party like that. And they love things that are very unique and very individual. And so I think that would be really cool for a four. Jody Diana said a circle of people reading notes of the unique qualities
Mm.
they love in me the most, which again
Yeah.
kind of goes back. You suggested that for twos. I think fours would like that. I mean,
Yeah, I do
honestly, three
too.
would too. Who wouldn't love that? Well, I think
Yeah.
nines and other types, maybe a five would be a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
being the center of attention. So that might not be so fun for sun types, but definitely I think those twos, threes, and fours would love that.
Yeah. For sure. Fours, especially. I feel like threes would appreciate it, but just as my own, like, there's a lot of threes who are like, I know already.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, but
like, yeah,
yes.
like I probably would have said it differently, but okay. I
Yes.
think that twos and fours, though, have such a yearning to be known by other people. Not that threes
Yes.
don't, but like threes are just more confident in themselves. I think that for twos and
Yeah.
fours, it really speaks into something that is really healing and a true gift for them. So I think that's a great idea
Yeah.
from Jody.
So great. Okay, let's move on to fives, and that moves us into the head triad, the
Mm-hmm.
more thinking types. So fives are investigators, and they are definitely the cerebral
Mm-hmm.
group of the Enneagram. Often it can be a little intense. A lot of fives, not all, but a lot of fives are more introverted and spend a lot of time in their mind palaces in their heads. So
Yes.
as a someone who's been married to a five for 25 years, I can attest to the truth of that. Kelly, what do you think? What's a good party for a five?
Oh man, I think the fives in our lives love a good PowerPoint party. So,
Oh, fun.
right?
Yes.
We were just talking about this in my family and just the idea, if you're not aware, a PowerPoint party, man, it's hard to say.
It is. It's tricky.
It's also been around for a few years. The idea is that you let your friends know that you're going to have this kind of party and everybody makes a silly PowerPoint about something that they will then present to the group.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I should have looked up some of the good ideas that people have done for these types of parties. It'll be like,
Yeah.
I characterized all my friends as Pokemon, and this is, who you are and why. I mean, there's silly things. Like, what can you think of some, Meg? Do I need to like grab
Oh,
my phone and look them up?
I've seen plenty on TikTok. Like I ranked all of my high school boyfriends worst to best, or it's just silly stuff. Like think of if you are just like listening to this right now, that one topic that you could like give
Yes.
a spontaneous TED talk on, but make it fun.
Yes.
Not the serious stuff, the fun stuff. Like I could put together a mean PowerPoint on all of the benefits of fan fiction and how it serves
Yes.
the larger community of fandom. But yeah, just something silly, but it's like you're doing it in like a corporate business format, but it really
Exactly.
you do actually kind of learn something. So
Exactly. So that's why I think the fives would like it, is that they get to take those things that they're doing the deep dive on and like, can you make it fun? Like, I think that's, so, if you're deep diving on the new dishwasher to buy, maybe that's not the PowerPoint, like all the different dishwashers that you've researched.
Yes.
Like that might bore people, but like maybe you could find like dishwashers ranked by the worst customer review on Amazon. Something like that. I mean, okay, so I just looked up some ideas like dream wedding destinations. So that's kind of a more serious one than it has to be silly, but like rating the Disney princes.
Yes, Disney comes in a lot, I feel like, on PowerPoint parties. Yes.
Your friend's celebrity lookalikes, if you know who's going to be there. That one's fun.
That would be so fun.
Yes, that would be a fun one. Oh, wait, everyone's Enneagram types. That's not. We're doing that already.
Nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. Things that have happened to you that no one believes, your colleagues as an alcoholic beverage, the best books you've read, the best road trips you've taken. So again, it can go from, like, you could Google this if you really wanted to do it. It can go from kind of semi-serious to really goofy, depending on you, I think. And that's what it also, you get that range in there. The fives in your life are going to appreciate that you're taking this, you're sharing your knowledge in a fun way. And I have not been to one of these parties, sadly. I don't know who needs to get involved in my life and invite me to one, but it sounds so fun. Like there would be a lot of laughter. There would be a lot of discussion. I think that that's so helpful for a five who, like you said, they can be a little bit more introverted, but if they feel like this is something I know about, I have a way to enter the conversation here and connect with the people that I like. That's what they want. So throwing them a PowerPoint party feels on point.
Let me give a personal example of how powerful a PowerPoint can be for a five. Back during the pandemic, early pandemic, AJ, who's now 15, went on a campaign that she wanted to have a pet again. Years ago, we had our first dog, Jaja. We ended up placing her in a different home. And so we'd been without a pet for a while. And AJ was just like really wanted a pet. And so this was like early April 2020. And before, any of us were damaged.
It was early on. We were still like sweet little.
Yes.
I mean, certainly we had a shock on our face, but we didn't really know what we were doing yet.
But since she had so much free time on her hands, she made a
Mm-hmm.
PowerPoint presentation on Google Slides, actually, about why she wanted to get a guinea pig for a pet. And like she had done all of the research slide by slide. It was like this persuasive PowerPoint, all of the research of why she could and should have a guinea pig for a pet. Kyle, my husband, again, a 5, classic textbook 5, was so blown away by the thought and care she had put into this Google slide presentation that he was like, no, you're not going to get a guinea pig. You're going to get a dog. And it's not just one dog. We'll get 2. Like, that's how we have our Boston Terriers, our pandemic puppies,
I
because
actually didn't know that story. That's so
yes,
funny.
yes, he was like just so like that PowerPoint spoke to him on a deep emotional level, and he was like, "I will give you the world because you made this PowerPoint."
You actually get a dog. You get the grand prize.
Yes,
This is the showcase showdown. You get a dog and you get another dog.
Exactly. Exactly. So yes. Okay.
That's
well,
funny.
so we asked our awesomes a number of 5s, and not a small number preferred no party at all. Okay. All right, 5s. But sometimes we want to celebrate you. So let's see. Blessed Jen 4, who's a 5, said she wants a party where you're learning something. Okay. So PowerPoint party perfect. She said no small talk. Okay. Megalona on Instagram said reading on a covered porch. It's 70 degrees. There's endless drinks, and the party capacity is 3 to 5 people.
Yes, that's actually a really good point, because the PowerPoint party should have no more than 6, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would just get too long, right?
Yes.
And so it's a nice way to limit and be like, this is just these 2 people, and then it's going to be, over.
Yes, exactly.
And then go home.
Exactly. One more. Pierce Chain on Instagram said, just close friends, learning something new. So Kelly, you are vibing with the 5s with this PowerPoint party idea. I love it.
Yes. I think that they could also love the charcuterie idea that we said for ones, like learning something. There are lots of opportunities to go and learn something new with your friends.
Yes.
Like I've seen flower arranging, there's all sorts of different cooking classes. So finding something that you could do, that's like a bonus party for a 5. I think that idea of learning something new is the key for them.
For sure. Okay, still in the head triad, we have our 6s, the loyalists. Our dear friend and fellow co-host, Rebecca Hoffer, is a 6.
Yes.
So the loyalists are very committed. They're very security oriented. They have a very dynamic relationship with anxiety. Some avoid it, some move towards it. It's a whole complicated thing. 6s are wonderful and beautifully complicated. They're very responsible. The 6 in your life is the one who always has the backup plan, the emergency plan. They've thought it through already many times, and they will tell you what you need to know. So 6s, what do we do for a party for our 6s, Kelly?
I think this is when you do a game night.
Okay.
I think that 6s really appreciate picking a few really well-known games. Now, not that you can't pick a new game. I think that 6s are going to be happiest if you're not introducing a new game at the party, because now we've got to learn it. Are people going to like it? Right. Is it going to be competitive or is it collaborative? So picking some classics, doing Uno, or doing, you could do a twist on Uno. There's all these different Uno variations today, but people basically know the game, even doing something like Life, which takes freaking forever. Longer than the actual life, I think. That's my own personal take on that board game.
Lifetime in a board game, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
We've talked before about Nerds here. If people play that game, just pick a game that they like to have fun with, and that the party people coming, who are all, of course, going to be good friends of theirs. That's who you're doing this with. Also know the game and like it, so that there's going to be the right level of spirit around the game. I think that that's kind of key to this, is making sure, if you're inviting an 8 or a 3, that you have a conversation with them beforehand, and you're like, this is for fun.
This is for fun. Yes.
It's for fun. And if you can't have fun, you're going to be stuck in the kitchen making the cocktails.
I was going to say, then you're in charge of drinks, and that's it. You do not
exactly.
Get to play.
We actually, this is a funny story. Many years ago, when we used to host Thanksgiving before we had kids, for all of our friends, people, and my youngest brother came to San Diego and stayed with us, and we were playing Nerds. We were up till 2 a.m. We had people staying at our house. We played Nerds, and then we would wake up and play Nerds. And Corey, who was an 8, my husband, was winning every game. We kept making him put more cards in his Nerds pile than us. Then we made him play with one hand behind his back the whole time. And then finally we were like, you're done. You're kicked out.
It's
You're
not
on
fun
it.
anymore because
Yeah, you're done. Like
winning.
and he's like, are you kidding? And we were like literally every person on the table, we're like, not joking. Please leave. And we kicked him out. It's kind of infamous in our family. So make sure that it's not that. Like
Yeah.
you want it to be fun. I also think this is a great chance for a potluck. I
Oh,
think that
yes.
sixes are very collaborative.
Oh, yeah.
They're the people who they're like a lot of twos, I think, where they take care of people because they're thinking. So
Yeah.
like making sure that you have like dishes assigned kind of a potluck, like you bring this, you bring that, or,
Yes.
this
Oh my
category,
gosh.
however you want to do it so that we don't have 8 people bringing chips and
Yep.
salsa. That would totally stress a 6 out. Can you imagine?
Yes.
Don't leave it up to people. Like
Absolutely.
make an assignment.
One of our sixes said, Greenfield Gale said, no surprises. I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Yes.
No surprises. And then she said, potluck, where categories are assigned so we don't have too much of anything. I do think that would stress a 6 all the way out if everybody brought desserts and there's no main entree for
Oh my
everyone
gosh.
to eat. You know,
Like I know our sixes are listening right now and they're like, my heart is beating fast. Like the mere idea of like a potluck where you're just like, just bring what you want.
Right. And
No.
they were not able to make sure like that it was all evenly spread out because then there's no backup plan. Now we have a party with all desserts and everyone's wants real food too.
Yeah.
Okay. So many sixes said no surprise party. So I was curious about this. So I texted Rebecca this morning. I was like, okay, I noticed, Rebecca, you didn't answer when we put the call out on Instagram, what to throw for a 6 for a party. So I need you to tell me. And she said, she's acknowledged she didn't even answer because parties are stressful for her. Okay. But she said, first of all, she would love like a girls' night out, but a very small group, no surprises, and not even a mixing of friend groups because, and she and I talked about this a little bit more, and I think this stresses out a number of numbers. I also feel stressed when there's a mixing of friend groups because I feel responsible to make sure everybody's mixing and mingling, and I can't relax if I feel like, oh no, this group isn't talking with each other, whatever. But she also had a great insight for sixes and parties. As she was talking about it, kind of processing, we were talking about it, she said, I think that it triggers my 6 skepticism. Like I start to think, oh, like she's skeptical that everybody actually would wanted to throw a surprise party for her. And that, that she begins to think like, would they rather be doing something else? Or, like it just triggers a lot of questions. Sixes have a strong sense of skepticism about everything. In fact, I've even run things past Rebecca. I'm like, I don't have a good skepticism filter. You check this thing out and tell me what I should be skeptical about.
Yes. Yes. Laura's really good at that too. Back when Laura Tremaine was on our team, we kind of, both of us, you and I, we are like, it's going to be fine. And like very trusting and kind of optimistic. And we need those balances. Now Rebecca has to do it all by herself.
Yes. Rebecca bears the burden.
Like, whoa. Yeah, we like, they do have that. And it can be, like you said, it's like with everything with the Enneagram, our strengths, also our weaknesses. And like that feeling of like, I've got to be prepared. I've got to be planned. But this is one of those times where you could help them, right?
So another 6 on Instagram, khole05 said that she would like a party with a full schedule and an agenda up front. So again, like I said, 6s have a really complicated and dynamic relationship with anxiety. And I mean that not in the clinical sense. I just mean in like worrying about things. And so I do think that for a 6, just like knowing what's going to happen because they are geared to go towards, well, what's the backup plan? What do I need to know? Like, what's plan B? I don't know. Like, I feel like for some 6s, I don't want to paint with the broadest of strokes, but I think for some 6s, they would rather know everything and like have some input than, and that would outweigh the thing of like, oh, I just want to be surprised. I don't want to plan a single thing. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, I think that's kind of like the 2s. Like they want somebody to know them so well that you could plan a perfect party for them. But that's hard also, so that's why in some ways it's like, it seems better to say, this is what I think you'd want. Is this what you want?
Yes.
And I think for 6, the same thing. Like, I think really this is the time to just get them involved with the planning the party. Like if you're throwing it kind of in their honor, but just being like, okay, I'm thinking of doing this and this and this. What do you think? Like it's going to quiet their anxiety to know exactly how it's going to go down.
Yep.
they're going to be able to embrace the party, right? And that's the goal, is like you're
Absolutely.
doing this, you want that
Yes.
person to have fun, or you
To
want
actually have
yourself to have
fun.
fun if you're a six throwing the party,
Yeah.
like, so this is how to do it.
Exactly. Okay, the last type, Kelly, in our head triad is the seven, like yourself, the
Yes.
enthusiast. These are our busy and fun loving and adventurous types, almost always open for new things. In fact, really, really love new things. But always open for a party and for an adventure. Tell us, in your mind, as a seven, what's an ideal party?
So this is maybe the hardest one to pick a party for, because as a
Oh
seven, we love
yeah.
all parties.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's like maybe not a surprise party, because I feel like some sevens also have some anxiety about that, but almost
Hmm.
everything else is like, yep, that sounds
Yeah.
amazing, as the golden
Yes.
retrievers of the Enneagram, like just throw me in.
Yeah.
So this is what I chose to typify, I think, a fun party for a seven is Taco Tuesday.
Oh, fun. Okay.
So this is what I mean by that. There's a couple things. One is Taco Tuesday is just an ordinary day. It's just a Tuesday, but you know what? We're going to make it really fun. So we're
Mm-hmm.
taking something that is just kind of mundane and ordinary, and we are adding in the sparkle. We're making it a theme. Nobody loves a theme as much as a seven.
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
I bought a pink sequin jacket for the Barbie party.
Yes.
So taking something that's just there and making it a party seems like the most seven sort of thing for me. So a Taco Tuesday party, like gathering people very casually, even spur of the moment, like, oh, tomorrow's Tuesday, I'm making a big batch of tacos. Let's come over. Everybody bring a margarita. Like whatever you want to do
Yes.
is going to make a seven so happy, because it's really living in the moment. It's celebrating
Yes.
something that is just there. And that's how sevens love. It's like a casual thing that we're taking to the next level. I
Yeah.
think the must for a type of party for a seven is like a variety of good food, not like one thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's why tacos kind of work, because how are you going to make your taco, or what kind of taco are you
Yeah.
going to have, or
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Music,
Mm,
that ambient sort of sound that's going on, laughter, and
definitely.
then a big key is not having to clean up.
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
whether the
Hmm.
seven is throwing the party or going to the party, like helping out at a party, like just having somebody else be like, I'll take care of the dirty work on the back end. Oh, that's like a really big
Hmm.
gift for a seven.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Oh, I love everything about it. And the sevens, some of them who weighed in on Instagram said similar things. Melissa Davenport said that she likes surprises, not
Yeah.
having to plan a thing. Favorite food, favorite people, great music. Amy Treem 246 said outdoors, a few bands,
Oh,
pizza,
yeah.
open bar, all my friends. I mean,
Yes.
yes.
All my
Just
friends. I think this is another time when you just like everybody that you know. You could, like, not that they're all going to come, because it's probably going to be not a thing that was planned 6 months in advance and like
right, right,
notices
right, right,
sent out.
right.
Like the
Hmm.
sevens are going to be famous for like tomorrow. And
Yes,
so who can
yes.
come? I love the outdoors part there too that Amy mentioned. The open
Hmm.
bar, just making people feel comfortable and welcome and celebrated.
1000%. All right,
Yep.
moving back to the gut triad, we have our eights. Eights are our challengers. They are self confident. They are powerful, very decisive. Again, a healthy eight is somebody who is sort of like a one. In fact, I think ones and eights often mistype with each other because they're
Mm,
also very motivated to make the world better,
yeah.
to challenge, the way things are done and see if there can be a way to make things better, especially in context of relationships and people they love and care about. So when it comes to an eight, what do you think, Kelly? You've known one for a long time.
Yes.
What do
Honestly,
you
I feel
think?
like eights also, like fives, are probably like, I don't want to party.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Right.
just yeah. Like,
Yeah.
they sometimes just feel like that's frivolous, or like it's not going to be fun for me, sort of a
Yeah.
thing. They don't like small
Yeah.
talk, so kind of the traditional party isn't always their thing. So this is what I was thinking, is that like maybe dinner out after some sort of a lecture, or
Okay.
that feels very, I don't
Yeah.
really love the word lecture. So something that you go to with a few friends and learn something. So it's kind of like a party with a purpose. You're going, maybe, like I was
Oh,
thinking, here
yeah.
in the Twin Cities, one of the things that I get to produce for Minnesota Public Radio is Talking Volumes, which is in the fall. It's a series of authors that come on stage, and our host Carrie Miller interviews them on stage. So
Hmm.
Abraham Verghese, Ann Patchett, these are the people coming this fall. great authors. People love them. So getting your friends who also maybe like to hear that, or maybe there's a commentator who's speaking, or, some sort of a class or something that you can do with some friends. So you're all going and listening. Your minds
Yeah.
are being stimulated, right? You're
Right.
listening to this thing. And then you go grab dinner and drinks afterwards and discuss it. So I feel like this especially ties into any eights who have some sort of a justice streak, which they all do in
Oh yeah.
various ways,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's something happening in our current political discourse where you're like, I would love to get involved. I want to go and hear more about this topic. And then
Yep.
afterwards, I'm going to discuss with friends. These have to be the kind of friends who are going to be open to that sort of discussion, like that might not always make everybody feel good all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Eights are so, I don't want to say confident in themselves, but like that's part of it. They don't, conflict does not scare them if it's done
Right.
correctly. Like they
Mm-hmm.
want to have that like biblical iron sharpening iron. They do feel
Yeah.
like it makes them better. So you have to have those friends that will be willing to be intellectually honest together. I think that
Yes.
nothing thrills an eight more than that. And then
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's some way that afterwards there's like movement, because I think that eights also talk for the
Yeah.
sake of
Yeah.
talking is not thrilling to them. So is there something that you
Right.
can do afterwards? Like, what is the outcome of this party? Would be really like, I think
Yes.
the best party is if there's something afterwards where you're like, okay, we're going to go do this. It's
Okay.
moved me to action instead of just
Oh,
talk.
interesting. Oh, that's a great insight. That really is. Not a lot of eights weighed in.
Because
We
they rolled their
obviously,
eyes.
yeah, we mostly have a female audience, and then
Yeah.
so there's eights. The eight woman is a, sort of a rarity in and of itself, but then also probably a lot of them are like, "That's dumb. No, keep going. Just skip right through to the next story." Do eights even look at their Instagram stories? I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question. Come tell us, eights.
Yeah, but if you did, a few. So Crystal Bauman said palomas and political discourse.
Yes, there
Palomas
she
are
goes. Mm-hmm.
great tequila-based cocktail. So yeah, just a drink and a good hearty debate. Like that sounds like hell to me personally. Like I will leave early if
Yeah.
that's the party.
She's like, so don't invite your nines. You got to find the right people for this party.
Yes, I have no eight wing at all. Okay, another eight, Emmy Ann 419 said, a surprise party, I get to know the details, but I didn't have to call anyone or decorate. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I could see an eight being into that. They want to know what's going on, but at the same time, they're like, oh, that's fine. You guys do it. I'll show up and have fun.
Yes. I think that the eights are like the opposite of twos and sixes who are like, I want to, like, even sometimes the one, like, I want to know what's going on. I want to be
Yeah.
involved. I think that while they do like control, and they often have
Mhm.
it just because that's their thing, they're good at it.
Yeah.
I think that it's a relief to them to not have to
Yes.
make all the decisions.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, and that leads us to 9. My type, the peacemaker, also in the gut triad. We are the easygoing kind. We're just
Yeah.
tend to be a little self-effacing, and because of that, a lot of 9s also were like, I would, I don't know, don't throw me a party. Not in the same way that
Nines.
like 5s don't like a party, I think, for a lot of reasons. One of them being it's not very efficient wasted. If it's not a very efficient use of time, they might
Yeah.
feel like it's a waste of time. 9s, again, speaking in broad strokes, don't like to be the center of attention. It's very uncomfortable for a lot of us 9s to be the center of attention. So what do you think, Kelly? What would be a good 9 party, themed party?
I think nines would love a good spa party.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I could get into that.
Yes. So these are my requirements for this sort of a party for a 9 is that you only invite a handful of friends. So it's not
sure.
a huge
Without
group,
a doubt.
right?
Yes.
I would say you also keep it pretty casual. So you're like, it's not like, and now we're going to do males. Like this is not the time for an agenda.
Yes.
I think it's like, lay it all out and be like, you can do what you want when you want. Like we're all just going to kind of be here together. I think like for a spa party for a 9, you have to have a fluffy robe.
Oh yeah.
Everybody needs a fluffy
we love
robe.
comfort. Everything
Comfort.
comfy.
Embraced in it, right? And this is like a sensory thing too. It's a calming thing. And then I think you also need like water in the background, like the peaceful sounds of that. Whether you're outside, whether you're at an actual spa, whether you just get one of those little rock water features, like that.
Yeah.
It's soothing. I think that if you're really going to make a 9 feel good, that
Yeah,
soothingness and being together is going to enrich them and make them feel good. So what do you think? Did I like nail it for you as a 9?
absolutely.
Okay.
Nines do love anything comfortable. We're into aesthetics not in the same way that fours are. I feel like fours appreciate aesthetic because it's beauty and it's art and
Mm-hmm.
it's expressive. I think that nines are into aesthetics in the sense that it's sensory, comfy, cozy.
Yes, I
So I
agree.
think a spa experience, especially if, okay, I'm thinking of like when my sister got married, that for her bachelorette party, her bridesmaids had planned a spa day. And it was so nice because there was like different stations. So we got the comfy robes, but then like they moved us through in groups. Nobody had to decide really. It's just kind of like some of us were getting a massage and some of us were getting a facial. And like,
Yeah.
it was just very low key,
Yes.
which was
Perfect.
really, really great. Last December, one of my dear friends here in Oklahoma City, superstar, awesome turn, dear friend of mine, Grace, she's a December birthday. She's a single mom of four. Her mother passed away in early 2020. So, it's just like, I was thinking it's December. December birthdays tend to get overlooked anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she's just like so amazing. And I just wanted to show her, like, I see you and I see how amazing you are. So we didn't do a party, but I took her to, I was like, can I take you out for your birthday? So it wasn't really a party. It was just me planning. And we went to the artsy neighborhood here in Oklahoma City called the Paseo. We shopped. We shopped for Christmas presents. She shopped for herself and all these really cute boutique art studios. We went to eat at one of the like most buzzy restaurants in Oklahoma City. The food was delicious. And it was just like a really great celebration. So we were like walking and talking, and we we're close friends. So it's not like we ever don't have things to say, but there was like a thing to it too.
Right.
So that was really good. I will say across the board, all the nines who were talking about a great party, food and snacks and food. Can there be food there? We want food. So if you're going to do a spa party, maybe there's even like a little
Yes. Oh,
snack
of
table
course.
set up.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about nines and snacking, but we love a snack. So let's make sure there's great food there. Um,
Absolutely.
Another thing too, Grace threw a party last December, a Christmas open house. It was one of her kids' idea. And it was like set up kind of the same thing idea. There's stations. People were
Yeah.
doing things because I do think that nines do get a little overwhelmed if we feel like we got to check on everybody. We like can't help ourselves. We want to make sure everybody's having
Yeah.
a nice time. But there was stations, like there was like hot cocoa station, there's a craft station. People were just in groups doing things. So she just kind of like threw it all out there. It was very chill. Most of the nines who wrote in asked for something chill, a cozy vibe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Already reading too much said the music should be low enough for easy conversation. That's
Yeah.
another
Good
thing. Like
point.
we get overstimulated on a sensory level really easily, I feel like. So chill music. Like I don't think it's the same vibe as a seven party where it's like bands and like people,
Yeah.
like it's like very high energy. I think nines when the music to be low and just everything to be kind of chill.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So I can't wait to hear what you awesomes have to say if you didn't get a chance to weigh in or if you have follow up thoughts. But Kelly has a fun idea. She thought of like, what are some other party ideas and who would like this and who would hate it? So we're going to talk about those when we come right back. Okay, we are back. And today we're talking all things Enneagram and partying. Kelly, as our resident seven, I'm sure that you have, like asking you, what are some party ideas and themes? You're probably like, oh, we could do this and that and this and that. So thinking about different party ideas or even just celebration, kind
Yeah.
of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, just different kinds. I want to say genre. I don't know if that's
Yes.
the right
That's a good
word.
way to say it.
Types of
Yeah.
celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are some that you thought of? And let's talk about who would love it and who would hate it.
Well, the first one that I thought of was a surprise party, but I feel like we've kind of covered some of that.
Okay.
Like, so let's
Yeah.
just like recap though. Who would love a surprise party most out of the Enneagram, out of those 9 types, and who would like hate it? Like just the distress of a surprise party would overshadow the fun that came after.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who do you think
I
again?
know
Like, so we've said some of this, but
I think that fives and sixes would hate it the most,
okay.
like actually be uncomfortable the most. Who would love it? I feel like a seven would love a surprise party. What do you think?
I mean, I think a 7 could. I think maybe, I don't know if I have a 6 wing or an 8 wing. I think I'm just very 70, but
Yeah.
the I had this like so funny experience story that when I turned 16, I think I had a
Yeah.
group of friends that wanted to do a very common thing at the time, which is like where they would show up at your house and
Oh,
kidnap
and
you.
kidnap you. Yes. Uh-huh.
And so they wanted to do it before school, which meant, so my birthday's in January in
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
Minnesota. So like the sun
Yeah.
shines for all of 32 minutes a day at that point.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's usually, my birthday is one of the coldest, darkest weeks of the year. It's like the
Yeah.
opposite of everything that I am at state for.
I
I
know.
was born in the wrong season. Um,
Yeah.
so they had actually talked to my parents because they're like, we're going to need to come at like 5:30 in the morning to get her, to take her to
Yeah.
breakfast in her pajamas before we go to school at 7:30, super early.
Right.
I
Yeah.
happened to be having a nightmare. My bedroom window overlooked the driveway. I woke up with a start to the car doors like shutting. And I
Uh-huh.
looked outside and I was like, I mean, I don't have my makeup on. I was like, oh, hell no. Like, that is not happening. And my parents were like, Kelly, like, your friends are here. 'Cause I'm the oldest. Like, all my siblings are sleeping. They're like, they just want to do something nice for you. And I was like, this is not the thing. Like, I was irrationally teenage girl mad. I got over
Oh, I would
it.
be furious.
I
would be
went
so
with
mad.
them. I was like, and I did have fun. Like once I was there, I was like, I see what you're doing. So I think a 7 can get over
Yeah.
it. I do think that that's always the thing. Probably in a different environment, not in the middle of winter, having to go out in the cold in your pajamas without your makeup
With
on
morning
as a
breath.
16-year-old girl. Yes,
Yes.
it would be better. I agree that I think 7s probably the most out of all the types would be the most
Yeah.
okay with it.
Maybe also a 2 if it's like a surprise and it's just like super thoughtful. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like where you could like the 2 can tell like, oh, you really thought about what I would like a lot. Like I think
Yeah.
a 2 would be open to it.
And a 3, I think a 3
Oh, a 3.
too
I
is
think
like,
a 3 would like that.
they can
Yeah.
go with that. And like, they're kind of always ready to celebrate themselves. I don't mean,
Absolutely.
I love
No.
my 3s. So I hope that doesn't sound like
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
deriding them at all. Like, I think that they're like, yeah, we can do that. And I think that
Absolutely.
they're pretty spontaneous.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. What else?
So that's one. How about, this is like, was a whole thing for a while, a mystery dinner party.
Ooh. Okay.
Like, they're a thing again, right? Because our kids, Gen Z, is rediscovering them, and they're like, what?
Yes.
Like an escape room
Yeah.
in a box sort of idea.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't talk about escape rooms. That's another idea. So like, talk about the mystery theater in a like party.
Mystery dinner party situation. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that 8s and 9s would like this for kind of the same reason. I think that 9s like when they can be part of a thing, but they don't have to like make all the decisions of a thing. But I think an 8 would really excel. I think a 3 would like this too.
Yeah.
I think 5s under the right circumstances could get into this because it's very cerebral. We got to figure out what's going on. I think a 5 could like a mystery dinner party. I could see that. Who would hate it? I don't know. I think it would be. Gosh, why can't I not think of? Does everyone love a mystery dinner party? Maybe a 6
I think
would,
like what you
not
said,
like
it's kind
the
of
anxiety of it all.
that could be true. I think that it depends on how you run it, right?
Yeah.
I think that 8s and 5s to some degree, while it has a component that they would both love, this mystery solving, this cerebral, like whodunit, there's a purpose here, right?
Yeah.
But also you're supposed to act like your characters. Like where you're supposed to, remember that? You're supposed to dress up.
5s would hate that so much. They would not do that.
They're just like, that's not worth it. Like that, the solving of a mystery sounds fun, but you want me to dress up as Professor Plum, and then like as the dinner goes on, be like, oh no, my good dear Watson. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Where 7s and 3s are like, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who killed them.
I think a 4 would get really into it, just in terms of like the characterization part of it. For sure. I think a 4 would love that. But yeah, I think, okay. I forgot that there was the acting as a character part. So count the 5s out for that. But I think that would be really fun for a lot of people to go to for sure.
Yeah. I think that that's one of the nice things about it, especially if you can have a mystery dinner party where you just tell people like, if you want to dress up and play the part, you can, but like, we're just going to have fun solving it together. That kind of can hit everybody where they're at, right?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about like an escape room.
Okay. See, I do think 8s and 5s would
Mm-hmm.
love an escape room. I
Mm-hmm.
think a
Mm-hmm.
3
Mm-hmm.
would love an escape room for sure. Because I think 5s would love the cerebral part. I think 8s and 3s would love the action part of it, like the
Yeah.
doing of it. Um, I think as a 9, I am so stressed out by the idea of an escape room. Like it makes me, I don't know. It makes me feel claustrophobic and like there's so much pressure to do it in time. And that's another thing. Like a lot of nines said in their ideal party that like it'd be really, a few liked the idea of a hard stop and in time, but most were like just like open ended time wise. Well, in an escape room, you have a timer. Like that pressure. I think for sixes and nines, the pressure of an escape room feels uncomfortable.
Yes. I was thinking the
I
same
think a
thing.
7 would love an escape room too.
Yeah, I think a 7 could enjoy it. Like you said, it's just like the mystery of not kind of knowing what comes next. Like
Yeah.
it's very unknown, and they can embrace that, the discomfort of that, maybe more than
Yeah.
some types. Um, yeah, I agree. I think that sixes and nines, like the any type that kind of struggles with anxiety, it seems like an escape room is probably the wrong fit, because
Yeah.
that's part of the fun of an escape room, is like that
Right.
building anxiety, and they're just like, this is not fun for
Mm-hmm.
me. This is not fun for
Yeah.
me. So don't do
Yeah.
that. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm breaking this up into two things. Here's one that's just a very common party that we all go to, is a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going
Okay.
to separate the wedding from the reception.
Oh,
So
okay.
let's
Yeah.
first talk
Yeah.
about like a good wedding. Who really enjoys a good wedding?
Well, I think our heart centers do. Our twos, threes, and fours, absolutely. Maybe for a variety of reasons, but I think that those are probably the types that love the ceremony part maybe the most.
Do you think ones
Especially,
too like ceremony? Like I feel like the
yeah.
order of that, like this is what we do,
Oh,
could
yes.
appeal to
The
a one.
order, the tradition,
Yeah.
the a well executed wedding ceremony, I think, is very satisfying to a one for sure. I didn't think about that. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, and for six too. As again, the
Yeah.
orderly part of it, the planning part of it, like the thinking of all of the different, like if this should happen, then we can do this kind of thing.
Hmm.
I think that a six would like a well planned wedding ceremony for sure.
Yeah, like the piece of tradition. I didn't think about it in this term too, but like I would imagine that those types are also the ones who are like staying up to watch the royal wedding when it
Oh
happens on TV, that sort of a
yeah,
thing. Like they're going to
yeah, yeah.
appreciate that part, the ceremony, the
Right.
richness. The fours probably appreciating like all of the beautiful the
Yes.
symbolism, but also the dresses and
Oh
just all
yeah.
the flowers and the things that go into making that a beautiful sensory experience, even though you're just watching it on a screen. Like that sort
Yes.
of a celebration appeals to them.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
But then the
I know that my
reception. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I know my five husband hated our wedding ceremony because everyone was looking at him. So
Well, and my 8 husband thought it was stupid. Like he doesn't like tradition. He's like, what does it matter?
yes.
So he has said famously, he's like, this only reason that we got married the way we did was for our parents. Like it really
Yeah.
wasn't. It was just to
Yeah.
satisfy them.
Right, right, right.
But to him, it didn't mean anything. So yeah, I agree.
We could have done this at the courthouse. It
Yeah,
would
he's
have been
like,
a
that
lot more
was
efficient.
stupid. That was a lot of money. And I don't even know half those people. And like tradition means so little to most eights. Like just the
Yeah.
idea, like if it has a point, but like, why do we
Uh-huh.
say these things? Why do we have to do these things? Like, yeah, they're very, very, very practical in that sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that part. So, but a reception after the wedding,
Hmm.
it
Oh
can be a
yeah.
different beast. It's a
Yeah.
different type of party. So what do you think about that?
I mean, I think sevens are the ones always having the best time at a wedding reception because it's just like a huge party and it's so fun. I think that, yeah, I'm trying to think through. Um, I think under the right vibe, that even the more, I guess it depends. Like, is it a big, huge, loud,
Yeah.
over the top reception? Because I think the threes and sevens are going to love those. But if it's more like it's a reception, but it's very chill, the music is turned down nice and low, and I can
I
get
don't know
into
if I've
that.
ever seen a reception like that. It's just,
I
just
don't either.
like, what are you
I'm
talking about?
thinking, I'm thinking of like a Pinterest, like the Pinterest, like wedding in the woods, where it's just like you're a handful of your friends and family, and it's very rustic and very chill. I don't know. Do people actually do that? I don't know. I've seen
I
it
don't
on
know.
Pinterest.
I don't know either. I feel like all the weddings, although I would say this, like the weddings that I've enjoyed the most are the big parties. So in that sense,
Yeah.
what you're saying, what a 7 is going to be drawn to a wedding reception, it is
Yes.
that I know some of these people, but I don't know any of the people, but we're all out doing the slide together on the
Yeah.
floor, after 8 hours, maybe not 8 hours, four
Yeah.
hours of like dancing and still like having fun. That definitely appeals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's some people who are just like, this is like the 9s, the 4s, 5s who are
Yeah.
like, could we go home? Like they're the
Yeah.
ones sitting in the back on their phone, while the 7 comes over and
Listen,
is like, do you want to come out? And they're like, no, you go. Like, you're having fun. I support you in
listen.
this moment.
I was on the dance floor so much at my sister's wedding that just yesterday morning, Nico was reminding me of that time we went to a wedding, and he was like, and you were dancing and it was so fun. Like we
Oh,
danced so much. So
yeah,
your mileage may vary. But I do think
exactly.
that people who are like tend to be concerned about details, I think the reception can be difficult to just like let yourself go and have
Yeah.
fun, like the 1s, the 2s, 6s. Like if they can just be in the moment and just be like, it's okay if this thing happened or this whatever, then they'll have a great time. But I think sometimes just like that, looking after all of the details, making sure people are having fun, I
Hmm.
think that could be stressful too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, those are my things. Do you have any other? Was there a party that came to mind that you were like, ooh, this will be fun to insert the Enneagrams into?
I'm trying to think. I really am so intrigued by this. I know I already mentioned it, but I'm really intrigued by this idea of having like a reading party or like some kind of
Yeah.
party. Doesn't have to be reading, but some kind of, I'm saying party, but it's like a gathering where
Yeah.
everyone comes and like you're there together in the same space doing a similar thing, but there's not this pressure to small talk. Now, I love small talk. I personally do love small talk. I love to I make I make small talk become deep talk. I'll just be
Yeah.
like, tell me your whole life story. Start at the beginning and don't leave anything out. But I know a lot of people don't like small talk. And so I like this idea of like being in the same space and sharing energy, and like people are doing things that they like want to do and they choose to do, but there's no pressure to mix and mingle.
Yeah.
I'm really fascinated with this idea. So I don't know if that's my ENFP shining through my 9 discomfort. Also, like 9s really don't like the spotlight on them. So if like everybody's kind of doing their own thing, then it doesn't feel like,
Right.
like it's like there's this pressure. Like I loved having baby showers for each of our children, but the pressure of opening presents in front of everyone, it made me ill to do that. Like it was very difficult.
Yeah, well, and that's a good one. That's like a common celebration that people go to, right? Is like showers, baby showers, or a wedding shower. You're right. Like there's some types who are going to be totally fine with that, and there's some types that are going to be like, can we please just make this go quickly?
Be over.
Like, I'm glad you love me. I feel the love, but also, can it be
Yes.
over now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a good one.
Oh, this was so fun,
It
Kelly.
is.
Thank you so much for this idea. This was just such a great conversation. I'm kind of surprised we haven't talked about all of this stuff before with all of our Enneagram episodes, which we will link to some of those in the show notes so you guys
Yeah.
can go back in the sort of awesome time capsule, because we've been talking about the Enneagram since 2015 before anybody else was.
That's right.
So
We are the OG when it
That's
comes to
right.
Enneagram typing of all the
That's
different everythings.
Yes, exactly. Kelly, people want to find you around the web to talk Enneagram or recipes or just like whatever. Where's the best place to find you?
You can find me on my website. So especially if you're looking for recipes, Kelly Gordon, MN from Minnesota.com. It's kind of got all my stuff there. Otherwise, you can find me in the Hangout group, of course, or in the Superstars group, which is for our Patreon supporters, on Twitter or Threads or Instagram.
Yes.
Threads now.
Yes.
Like
I
I'm really
know.
enjoying Threads.
I
It's
am
always the same, Kelly
too.
Gordon, MN.
Okay, you can find me at Sorta Awesome Meg in all of the places online. You can find Sorta Awesome just by searching Sorta Awesome wherever you are. Just a quick shout out to our Amazon storefront as you're doing back to school stuff, which is right now for me. I know you've got a few weeks left, Kelly, before you have to get serious about any of that. But you can go to, yeah, exactly. You can go to either amazon.com/shop/sorta awesome and find our various lists there. Or if you're just like, I'm going to go to Amazon and see what's over there, just go to sortaawesomeshow.com/Amazon. That will get you to the Amazon storefront, but it's through our affiliate link. So we get a
Yep.
little commission from our Amazon overlords when you do that. So awesome. Thank you for talking all things Enneagram with us this week. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see y'all next time.